Okay. Welcome everyone. Welcome. So just start by closing your eyes, making sure you're comfortable. And really notice your experience, the sensations of the body, if there are thoughts. The sensations that come through the senses. If you just stay here, very alert, you might have a sensation of slowing down. If that sensation happens, you just notice that. You don't have to do anything with your experience. You just allow any content that comes. Just allow it to come, stay for a while, and go. Or whatever tendency it has. Maybe some feelings or thoughts feel more sticky. And you just allow the stickiness of that to be in this moment. You don't try to get rid of it, nothing like that. You just allow the natural pace of the experience. There's no need to push away anything or trying to enhance anything. Just allow the experience to play out. Make it little dance. Its movements, the thoughts come and go, the emotional content change, whatever it is. And naturally in this watchfulness, you will be close to the awareness in your experience. Because that is what this watchfulness is. Awareness of what is going on. The opposite to this is to be drawn into thoughts. What we in meditation call identifying with thought. And that means that you have recognized a thought, but you believe in it. And in this scenario, you just watch. You see what it is. It might feel strangely magnetic, or that it has some pull on you, any thought. But you notice that you can just observe, and it will move on. There is a quality in this awareness, and this alertness of the moment. that is often overlooked. Where you put your awareness is the biggest thing in you. And meditation is a way to set awareness free. To no longer be bound to all these things. To these constant, continuing faults. To this clutter of ideas and beliefs. To simply acknowledge that if you stay as you are, as you stay as the natural awareness that you are, the thoughts will subside. And in this, your approach have to be practical. You have to notice for yourself. Even if you like the explanation, just believing in it won't do it. You have to look. You have to acknowledge what it does when you stay alert. And initially this creates a distance between what you take yourself to be, the observer, and the observed. Many people find this distance as a relief. That the experience of their mind is more spacious. And still, this awareness is just the first step. Because even though it's a very pleasurable state, feeling this detachment of thoughts, and there's a lot of space, there's still a sense of duality. There's still a sense of the observer and the observed. It's easy to fall into the ideas of some kind of perfection in meditation. The mind is prone to think in terms of right and wrong. But the fight for right and wrong in the mind and how it affects your practice is just another distraction. It can also be observed. It's easy to be bullied by the mind. It wants its grip. The egoic mind does not want to lose its grip. And by its grip, it's the identification that you are used to. Your habits of going with the mind. And in meditation you break these. You allow this moment to be spacious. You allow the silence to be the prominent part and not the chatter. And the mind will resist. It will say that your efforts are futile. That you cannot win. But what the mind doesn't know is that it's not about winning. It's about being. And since the mind is a construct in time, the egoic mind always thinks about what it's going to become and what has happened. It has very little understanding of what being is. And being is the fundamental of everything. Everything springs out of beingness. Even the egoic mind. But just that beingness is prior to the mind. Shows that you are also prior to the egoic mind. Because you have to be the one observing, not the observed. And you might find it confusing that doesn't seem to be any point that you observe from. But there's still a sense of that it is being prior. It is one of the beautiful paradoxes of meditation. And the clash that is natural between beingness and thought. And if you touch the spaciousness of beingness at some point, maybe you already have at some point, then I sometimes jokingly say that then you're screwed. Because then you start to have a very strong sense that what is talked about is real. That the fundament of the experience is beingness, not thought. And you might start to see the qualities of this beingness. You start to see the happiness for no reason. That the cause and effect of things are not as you formerly looked at it as. That you are the source. Not in a small personal way, but there is no external thing that produces, for example, the sense of love. That the whole of experience is in you. Not the other way around. And the softness and humbleness that comes with understanding that you do not know exactly what you are, that there are still blind spots. And in this you can avoid the arrogance of always knowing. You can move your body, open your eyes. meditation is a very hard subject to talk about, because it's so easily misunderstood. You can just confuse the relative and the absolute, and you have a very strange perception of what meditation is. I've been asked so many times when I talk about accepting your thoughts, that people think that they have to think about their thoughts and accept the content of the thoughts, which is completely irrelevant in meditation, but completely valid if you look at everything as thoughts. Just an example on how easy it is to misinterpret. So what is very important is that you look and investigate yourself. And also some people are beautifully very trusting and very... It can be a very beautiful quality, but sometimes it becomes blind faith. And very important in meditation is to look and also to question. It's completely all right if I say something and you feel like I don't agree with that. Okay, fine. Put that aside and you just look at what you want to investigate now. This I have a little grasp of, I want to understand that, and you look at that. That's fine. There's no hard black and whiteness in this. You have to come from where you are, and that will be different for each one of you. For some people, things like observing your thoughts feel supernatural. And they can sense that I've always been doing this in some sense, or coming into pockets in my life where I just enjoy the watchfulness of it. And for other people, it just takes time, and that is completely fine. And it's fine to feel lost and unsure. And these qualities are actually quite beautiful qualities, because they give the possibility of openness. Because if you know, you have already dismissed so many things. If you have the sense, but this I already know. I know who I am. Then it's very hard to look. It's very hard to have some openness with it. So what we do here together is just that we investigate. And you follow me as far as you're comfortable. And you will notice your edge at some point. You will notice that, okay, I can follow to this point, but as soon as we go beyond it, I'm lost. That is fine, because then that is the point of your understanding. So then you know, then you can stay. And you can investigate yourself. You can do it in this moment. There is no need to wait, of course. But you can do it yourself. And when the understanding starts to blossom in you, it will not so much feel like I am being taught meditation. You will start to understand that the qualities of meditation are coming from you. And this can sound like, when we talk about non-dual meditation, it can sound like this is very much on a personal level, and in a certain sense it is. Because it has to blossom from you. But what it will show is that there is no difference. Because as long as it feels very external, I am going to these Wednesday classes, I'm taking part of this teaching of meditation, it's being fed to me somehow, and I am the catcher of that. There is so much duality in that. Because what we are investigating is something that is inherent in all. It's in all of us. This beingness is not a thing that I own and that I can share with you. It is in everyone. It's just a quality that is inherent in everyone, and if you investigate, you will see. And I know that I said this before, but I'm not interested in having a lot of students or collecting you in any way who have great students. I just want you to investigate this. Because I really think that it's worth looking at. And if you have the draw to come here, I find that very beautiful. But there has to be some softness with it, because you will misunderstand certain things, and that is fine. But it's so easy to, what is it that they say in English, to throw out the baby with the bathwater. To throw everything away because you come upon something that, oh, I didn't really like that. But this is your investigation. This is your looking. And the experience itself is very individual. You will have your own psychological makeup and your own ways of approaching things, and how you enjoy learning things and how you don't enjoy learning things. All these things are there. And there are other factors that are very interesting, because they're also not what most people think that they are, like fear. Fear is a beautiful thing in one way. Because, and you have also probably noticed in your life that some things that you are fearful of, you're also very drawn to. Yeah, I would really like to do these things, but it scares me. Those things are beautiful, because they will move the boundaries of that fear. They will challenge it. And when we move like that, we move in the world of the relative, but it gives us clarity to watch something, to see something. If we just move in the world and we're very comfortable with where we are, we never go out of our comfort zone, you will also notice that your mind will be very dull from that. Always avoiding things that are fearful, always avoiding things that are uncomfortable. Because it will, that is just how the ego would want things. It loves going for pleasure. It wants to avoid pain at all costs, everything uncomfortable at all costs. And you will hear this in your mind if you challenge it. There will be like two parallel. If you go against your fears, you have this feeling that there's something really beautiful to gain from it, but there at the same time this nagging voice that says, don't do it. And that is just the egoic mind wanting to keep its grip. And if you're aware of these kind of things, you will start to go against that nagging voice, because you would start to understand that that won't bring me anywhere that is free and spacious. It will just make my mind more dull. And if these things become obvious to you, you will start to investigate more. Because that is one of what we look at is the egoic mind and the experience of it. That is very much what is determining what you call your situation or life. And as soon as you identify less with it, it will feel more spacious. But that is for most people not the way of least resistance. Because the easy way is always just to avoid fears and go with what is most pleasurable. So sometimes we have to be a bit retaught in this. We have to change the way we approach it. And I know this is a talk of a lot about the relative mind, but I think this is a valid thing to look at. Because I think a lot of people fall into that. And it's so easy to be comfortable, and you think that it is safe. But life is completely unpredictable. And that can feel like chaos to the egoic mind. Things come and go very easily. Things can change very drastically. All these things. And to the mind that feels that everything should be safe and protected, that feels scary. But if you're realistic with that, it's the beauty of the whole thing. And being present in this moment is to embrace fully the beauty of changefulness. And to say, I'm alright that it changes because there is no other way. There is no parallel life where I can hold on to things, even there is only this. And I want you to look at it from a point of experiencing, because you can look at this, what I talked about now, as a philosophy. And you could draw conclusions from it and say things like, yes, but then everything is predetermined, there's destiny, there's this and that, and you can have all these ideas about it. But all those ideas are also ideas in time. They belong to the domain of the egoic mind. So the real beauty of beingness in this moment and the present moment is that it is just that. Not the philosophy. Even if you like what I'm saying and you would like it as a philosophy, it's so easy to go there. But instead see if you can go to this moment. Who are you in this moment? And what I mean by that is not another philosophical proposition that you should determine who you are in some abstract idea. I want you to look in this moment and see what is inherently you. And I know for most people that feels super abstract. And they say, but I cannot really find a center. There seemed to be me as a thought in a couple of instances, and I have a feeling somehow that I am the body, but sometimes that also seems to go, and I'm not really sure. And it would be this great uncertainty about the center of the experience, because there is no solid center like that. And you can sense this nature sometimes. Especially, I've heard people talk about it when they come in extreme situations. They say that things are happening, but it doesn't really feel like it happened to me, or all this. And usually they just dismissed as strange or unusual events, or maybe you're performing something or pushing your limits, and suddenly you feel like things are just happening, but I am not the center of it anymore. I am not the doer. All these experiences. And they're never talked about as a very natural part of our experience, because the general idea in society is that you are the body and you are the composition of your thoughts. And there is no regard for the witnessing quality within you and what that entails. And if you are looking at that, you will always at some point start to what you usually refer to as cracks in the painting. You start to have a feeling that the image that you have of what is real is not really as solid as you thought. Because the idea of the person that you have it starts to feel transparent. It doesn't feel like a solid thing. And you will notice that your whole experience is just shapes and sounds and forms coming and going. There is no one it happens to. But even just the sense of doubt in that opens the possibility. Do you have a question? No?
I kind of do, but I wasn't thinking about it right now. You talk about this like central quality, the observer. Would you say that quality varies a lot between people, or would you say it's quite similar? Like it's almost not. It's not related to, I guess, your perceived identity. Does it have? Yeah. Would you say it's similar or different between people?
It is the same in everyone.
Yeah.
What I refer to as beingness is the same. Is the same.
Okay.
My beingness and your beingness, if we want to separate it, is the same, but it's also the same quality. So when I see that beingness in you, I see myself in you.
Okay. I mean,
I see you
really
as the same.
That. Thank you.
Yes. Because the whole idea of separation comes from the idea that I am something that you are not. I am something personal. I am the body. I am the thought of I, and the qualities that refer to. All the personal traits that I have stuck to that thought of I. But the beingness itself does not have any quality. It's not a phenomenon. It's not a thing that you can touch. But since you are, that is the proof of beingness. And also the experience that the experience is transient, that the experience is coming and go, all the experiences, they have to come and go against some background of non-movement. That gives the whole, that is the expression that we live with, and that we say, my thoughts are coming and going. And that is in relationship to what? Because if you would be completely identified, you would not say that your thoughts were coming and going. You would say, I am my thoughts. They determine everything. But since the observer is that observing is possible, that means that there is something that is not a phenomena that is beyond thought. And often when you practice meditation, there's a confusion with this beingness, because you say it is coming and going. Some days I can feel the beingness is there, and some days it's gone. But what is the beingness then? Then it has to be stuck into some kind of experience of silence or something that you associate with it, and then you say, when I'm not in that kind of state, beingness is not there.
Okay, because I do have a strong sense that I almost have a part of myself that is almost a co-traveler in this body. So I have my physical experience in this world, and everything that's happened to me, that's the body. And then I have another part that is, I may not use the same words as you do, but I'm trying. That is more calm and loving, and I have that sensation that this part is really not, it's not really related to my perceived identity somehow, but it's more something that, and I more think about that as being the observer, and that part can have a larger or smaller presence in my mind. So some days, as you say, it can be quite present, and some days my physical experience is taking up 100% of my internal visual field, and I can't really, and those are the days when you're not really balanced, I guess.
Yes.
Is that similar to what you're trying to talk about, or does it make sense or not make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just try to break this idea that is another thing that is coming and going. Because to the egoic mind it says, yes, but then it's just another phenomena. This silence is also seem to be coming and going. But does it really? And this is one of the things that we're looking at. But even when I'm completely taken by my mind, is the awareness not there? And you say, I cannot really touch it, or I cannot really, I'm completely in the trance of the mind. And that is how identity is experienced. But in that same experience, there is the possibility of knowing that how can you say I am completely taken by the mind? What is the other factor there that you compare to? How can you notice? You can say, today I seem to have a bad day and I'm completely taken by my mind. That is a response that you can have, right? So then that means that there is something that knows. And I just want to point this out because it's so easily to dismiss awareness when it's not perceived in the way that we like or in the form that we want. And it's the same thing then when you practice meditation, that you say that some things are the practice and some things are not. I was in such a unmeditative space here and here. And that really dismisses all the possibilities of awareness. It really just takes on the egoic mind would love that it was like that. But that is not the power of the ego. Because the experience itself and the content of the experience is always secondary to beingness. Whatever the egoic mind says about it. And we just associate certain experiences with peace and therefore we say, oh, it's really far away now. There's no possibility. And that is a belief that will be strengthened by how the egoic mind is reasoning about the experience. But that is not the grip is not as solid as the mind likes it to be perceived as. Actually, what your situation is and your reality, and even in the strongest identification of it, there are cracks everywhere. And meditation itself, the practice just makes you, and time again, look at the cracks instead of the painting. This experience contains so much spaciousness. When we don't touch, and when you explore the relationship with thoughts, try all kind of things, because there are. Just stay focused on one point. The breath, for example, or a focus point. Stay in the body. These things are very good because the one-pointedness as a practice shows the stillness. Because if you keep yourself on something, that will reflect back to beingness, because beingness is still. So it's a very simple way in the relative to reflect something back into beingness. Because if you just you can keep your gaze on something, you can keep your inner focus on your breath or something, and you just stick. And you say, whatever the mind wants to go, I'm going to stay here. It will show you this quality. And if you come back to that time and time again, there will be a point where you don't have to fight for that quality to come back. It will just come. You will just relax into it. And initially it will feel like you have to push your thoughts to the side and to stay with some kind of silence. And you like, okay, here is some kind of sense of awareness. If I really fight for it with my concentration and I hold myself in the right position, it feels like you're balancing on something almost. It feels like, it's there. Oh. But this is just the experience that comes from that you go from being identified so much with thought, so you come into these pockets of silence. And then it feels like to stay here, I have to be really, really careful. But at a certain point, that silence will just come to you if you want to or not. It's like you come over the edge and now it's downhill instead of uphill. And it just comes. And in the beginning you might not even like when it comes, because you think that it comes in the wrong situations. It comes in these moments that are very unmeditative, and suddenly there's just stillness and presence with it. And the egoic mind will resist it. It will say it's too stubborn, takes too much space, this silence, whatever. You can have all these resistance to it. And it will try to keep its pockets. Where it has success of persuading you that that this thought is important to you, it will continue. But as the mind gets most silent, those pockets will also be more crystallized. They will feel more extreme. So they will be much easier to see. And the egoic mind can also stay there but be very quiet, especially if you do things like self-inquiry. The mind can just start to hide. You can feel the duality in your experience, but the mind is really, really silent. And it will express more through attitudes, through a sense of belief or longing or these kind of things that are more subtle. And even though these things can be difficult to talk about, because most people, they have maybe their own internal words or their own language for it, because it's not so common to talk about it. So many people, I call that. Met one man and he said, I met a man at a retreat I was at, and he said, I understand now that the meditation that everyone is talking about is what I call porch sitting. And he just referred in his life to when it got too much and he just needed to find his way home again. He said, I have to porch sit for a while. And after a few hours, he was good again. And he just sat on his porch. He had no idea that was meditation. And many people have this. And when they start practicing, they will recognize, I used to do this as a kid. I just sat and looked at and I had this same experience. And I know that when we talk about it, it can seem like something intricate, like something, and perhaps like something new. But it is something that is in all of us, and is the same in all of us. And the more comfortable you become with your own experience, the less you will be triggered by others, by other people's fears, the easier it will be to have empathy for them, because you understand exactly what they're taken by You have seen the same fears in yourself, and you know how difficult it is when you identify with them. But it takes some sincerity, and it takes some courage to be with these things. Because the easy way for most people is to distract themselves and to do something that is just nice and pleasurable. Not sitting with yourself, confronting fears and the void of emptiness inside, or whatever you have. And I'm still amazed, even though I sit here every Wednesday, that you come and listen to this instead of looking at some TV show at home. Do anyone have any questions today? We have 5 people here as well. So 2 people in the room today only, and 5 here. Okay. So let's do an Omkara meditation. And if you haven't done it before, it's just that we for 10 minutes repeat Om, the simplest of all mantras. You just follow me very simply. And then we have 10 minutes of silence. And then again we do 10 minutes of Om. Very easy. And this just keeps focus on something. It's a sort of practicing one-pointedness. You're just aware of the mantra. And you can have the experience during this that the singing starts to happen by itself. And then you just relax into that and you just observe it. Allow it to happen. And it can also be, if you have a devotional disposition, you can just also put your devotion into the singing of the mantra. There are many ways of practicing this Omkara. Everyone on board? Everyone clear with what is happening? Very good. So just follow me. Om. Be sincere in your practice. Be honest with yourself. Ask all the uncomfortable questions. And there is so much in this moment. It's all there. It's nice to listen to talks. It's good to have a logical understanding of the subject. But the practice, the sadhana, is the most important. Because the sadhana takes it from being intellectual to being practical. Changes the outlook on everything with meditation. What might at first sound like a nice thought is lived, is experienced. This is the beauty of meditation. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Is the sound lost on stream? No. You can hear me? Can you hear me? No? Oh. And now you can hear me. I'm so sorry. But not for the whole time. It must have happened at some point. Okay. I'm happy that you can hear me now. But we just did the Omkara, and I know that at least you two could follow it. But you heard me at some point. Can I hear from you, Anders or Annika? In the beginning, okay. Okay, thank you. Everything was hopefully recorded, so you can listen to the whole thing if you want to. We'll upload it as soon as possible. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Always with the technical stuff. Take care. Take care. Bye.